Is novated leasing a good idea in Australia in 2024? I am novated leasing this exact Subaru Outback 2023 model Sport, which is still rather new. It's still not even 10,000 kilometers on the clock. And this video is a spiritual continuation from my previous relatively popular video that you seem to have liked, where I talked to you about things that I don't think you should repeat, my mistakes of buying Chinese cars in Australia. So today we're going to talk about Chinese versus Japanese, novated leasing versus cash versus finance. So we're revisiting all that slightly uncomfortable stuff where I will be vulnerable with my public, with my audience, and I'm going to talk to you about things that I don't think you should do. I probably would not do them again. And one of them, spoiler alert, you kind of deduced it from the thumbnail, is about novated leasing. I don't think you should get novated leasing unless you have very specific circumstances that I'm going to talk to you about throughout this video. If this is your cup of tea, if that's why you clicked on this thumbnail, well, you are in the right spot. Make yourselves comfortable. We're going to talk about all of this today. Honesty for honesty, numbers, everything is going to be given to you. The only thing on you, the only ask of you is to give me a quick like. It takes a lot longer to put these videos together. Please check out the description of the video for some discount codes, other kind of things. You may find something that is of interest to you. Dash cams, essential car electronics such as wireless CarPlay connectivity for your car, but it helps the channel a little bit and pays for my coffee. All right. Let's jump straight into this. What is this? This is a Subaru Outback 2023 model. I bought it for about $50,000. I'm recording this video in September, so we are not yet 1 year into the ownership of this, and the kilometers on the clock are coming close to 9,000. And look, it's very new. It's very, very new. There was one incident with this car, which is a separate story that I will leave for another time. Maybe you want to subscribe for that, so you will continue kind of chugging along. This will talk to you. The next one will talk to you about insurance, how I dealt with insurance and everything else. It is very, very interesting, especially when the car is under novated leasing. So the lease that I took on this car was associated with the fact that my previous employer was supporting novated leasing. I was in permanent employment. I had every reason to believe that I'm going to be there for a while. Something that you should be aware of, and something that is a red flag straight away that you cannot ignore, which I did, is can you, if you are with an employer and you're considering novated leasing, do you honestly think that you're going to be with that employer for longer than the duration of novated lease? Duration of novated lease typically in Australia is between 3 and 5 years. So 5 years obviously is reducing the immediate impact to your cash flow. So they're going to be withdrawing less from your salary pre-tax. And it's kind of easier to stomach, yeah? So normally your head and my head went to that. I was like, yeah, give me the cheapest one. Give me the cheapest one in terms of the cheapest impact to my salary. So I took the 5-year lease on this car, which is the first massive problem. First question that you ask yourself, as I suggested to you, are you planning to be with that employer for 5+ years? In my case, honest answer would be unlikely. Would be great, but unlikely. That would be the honest answer, simply because you know obviously what you do, I know obviously what I do, and in what I do, which is business consulting services type of thing that are associated with certain business changes, business transformations, other kind of things. I'm even telling you that. Those things very rarely last for 5 years. They are massive undertakings, yeah, but they are about 2 years long in massive organizations in Australia, right? So there is a lot of value to be added. I'm a good specialist in that regard. This YouTube channel is not paying for my life. It's the other stuff. Okay. So honestly telling myself, would I be in that company for longer than 5 years, longer than the lease of this car? No, was the answer. That was the first immediate red flag. This lease is 5 years. It's 60 months, basically. It's 60 months or 50,000 kilometers of total use of this car. It's a long-term rental, really, if you think about this. The original cost is about 50,000. I was looking at the documents, and it says something like fringe benefit tax price was about $49,000, which is great. And I'm going to tell you that with novated leasing, the salary deductions happen pre-tax and post-tax. There are two components of that. And obviously, you're not just paying off the car, but you're paying off the package of this whole lease. The package varies. You may include insurance, you may not include insurance, you may include certain amount of petrol, you may say yes to replacement of the tires, which is, there are some standard things, obviously, and there are some discretionary things, some things that you can choose to do or not to do. So another thing which is not a red flag, but it's a yellow flag, it's still a flag when you are considering novated leasing, consider those extras. Are you going to really, truly put the tank of petrol pre-tax from specifically approved providers of that petrol, which at the moment of recording of this video in Australia, for this company, supports BP and supports Ampol. If I use their card, then I have to go to those petrol stations. First of all, they may not be close to where you are, not on your way. Second of all, their original price of petrol could be actually 20-30 cents more than some local petrol stations, such as Calvi. There is like this no-name petrol station, Calvi, whatever it is. But it's much cheaper to get petrol from them. So my point is that there is that minutia of calculation and convenience that you may be disregarding and thinking, oh, excellent, everything is included, petrol is included, everything is pre-tax. No, mate. First of all, not everything, only half of it is pre-tax and half of it is after tax. And second of all, it may be also more expensive to start with. Am I getting through to you? Okay, well, that's another one to really not ignore, mate, and I'm being really, really honest with you, okay? Now, let's talk about the punchline. The punchline is, how much is it out of pocket? Well, my total repayments on this car, so total salary deduction pre-tax and after tax, at the moment are $1,391 per month. $1,391 Australian per month. I am going to be paying for 60 months of the 5-year lease on this car that originally out of pocket cash in hand would have cost me 50 grand. See you later. That's it. It's my car. I do whatever I want with it. Start processing it, my friend. Start processing it, because I certainly was slow on processing. And that's what I'm sharing here. And hopefully that's the value I add to my people. I honestly tell you about the ownership, not just of Chinese cars. It's a lovely Japanese car. There's no problem with the car. It's a great car. But it's expensive. It's expensive. So over 60 months, if it keeps going like this, if there is no change, if it's not, if I keep going to the sunset with this lease of 5 years, and we haven't even spoken yet about the transfer of the lease. It's a final point. Stick around. So I would have to, basically simple calculation, at that rate, I would have to pay out $83,460. So a 50 grand car, at the end of the lease, out of pocket, plus petrol, plus loading of insurance, plus this and that, yep, okay, I'm gonna say, yep, would cost me 83 grand. Well, mate, considering that I was selling my Chinese cars, reselling them, and I'm not gonna repeat what I said in that video, please, if you are now interested in my journey and you haven't somehow watched that video, now is your chance to go and watch it so that all of it comes together a little bit, otherwise you are out of context. I had cars for 35, 38 grand. Then I sold them and upgraded myself to this, thinking that I'm saving money because the deductions are pre-tax and I'm getting a brand new car and money is not out of pocket. Yay! Yeah, there is some yay. There is some yay. Otherwise, no one would be taking those novated leases. No one is saying that there is no benefit. There is some benefit. You're getting a brand new car for the money you don't have. Problem is, mate, it's like a mortgage. It costs you a lot more over the course of ownership. And that, my friend, is something that you have to be smart about, much smarter than me, and consider whether you will do it or not. All right, final thing that I mentioned in a previous video related to novated leasing, and I'm going to close this video with that. Another question you should ask yourself early on. It's kind of, well, it's the same question, really. It's related to the fact of whether you will stay with the same employer for 5 years or not. If the answer is no, and you are still going ahead because you're an idiot, yeah, happened to me, right? So if you're an idiot and you're going with this arrangement, regardless, yeah, what will happen to you? Here is what will happen to you. You will have to transfer this novated lease to another employer. And that, my friend, is the corrupting thought that is going to keep you going like it kept me going. I'm an idiot, but I'm not completely brain dead. So I still went with it because I thought that that's going to save me. The transfer, especially because during the sales period when you talk to consultants and stuff about novated leasing, They only obviously tell you the good stuff. And the good stuff is, oh, the car is pre-tax, you don't own it, it's a depreciating asset, you don't have to worry about it, just take it, mate, it's all great, then hand it back in, take another car. That's what they will make it sound like. Okay? Well, problem is, mate, when push comes to shove and you've been in your company for a year, 2 years, like I have, or yeah, in my case even less, because the business constraints could change with the company that you engage with, right? It can be not just up to you. You don't have to be fired. It just, the priorities of the business change. In my line of business, I have to go somewhere else. Cool, no problem. There is work, there is employment. However, now I have to take this car with me somehow. So you transfer the novated lease to the novated leasing company that other employer would work with. And it's not the same one. It's not the same one. That's what you might not understand. Another thing you guaranteed don't understand, or simply do not understand the gravity of, mate, is that how freaking painful and long it would take in exchange of documents, confirmations, documents, blah, 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 back and forth, confirm this number, confirm that number, wait for them to sign off, wait for them to sign off, wait for these people to approve, wait for those people to approve. It takes freaking ages, mate, to transfer the novated lease from one company to another. During that transfer, all money that you will be paying on the finance, essentially what it turns into, is out of your own pocket. So you'll continue paying the same expected amount, but out of your pocket, not pre-tax, obviously. You can't claim it later. You will just continue paying it until the new novated lease agreement kicks into place, kicks into power at that new employer of your choosing. Okay? Is the transfer possible? Yes. Problem is, here is a fact. I left my previous employer early May 2024. I started with my new employer mid-May 2024. I have my shit together, so I had everything prepared. I already called them. I had all paperwork. I had everything. And imagine someone less organized, okay? But this is ideal scenario, right? I had everything ready. I called them early. I didn't wait. And from roughly mid-May, yeah, we are traveling up to end of August. What is it? So June, so let's say mid-June would be 1 month, July, August, a little bit over. So 3 months, roughly 3 months, I paid out of pocket until they got their shit together and until they transferred my lease to them, to the new company, to the new employer, to the new everything, blah, blah, blah. Now all the repayments from the salary are in place. And now, technically speaking, I'm in the same freaking problem. I have the same freaking problem. Will I stay for the remainder of this lease, which is a little bit over 4 years remaining, with the new employer? And the answer is unlikely. Get me? This is why, if you're anything like me, which there are a lot of people, okay, like me, they don't do exactly what I do, but neither do they stay with the same employer for 5 years. In this economic environment, they change jobs, some circumstances change, suddenly you need to get rid of this car because it's too much of a hit on your salary cash flow. Maybe you want to get rid of this, basically extra lease, you know, extra deduction from your thing. So there you go. So that's what's happening, my friends. That's what is ultimately going to hit you if you are going to jump into novated leasing without thinking it through really properly. Don't do what I did. Should I have done this? Flat out no. What should I do now? Should I buy myself out before I pay them more towards that upper edge of $83,000? You tell me your opinion, not just yes and no. I love educated opinions. I reply to everyone who is not a troll in the comments, but I love to hear particularly from people who know what they're talking about and they can articulate it properly. I'm asking for your advice. I told you pretty much everything that happened to me. I told you about my situation. What is the better financial benefit? Do I buy myself out of it? Is there some kind of clause I don't know about under which I can return the car to the novated leasing company? I was given an impression that I cannot do that. That I cannot just return it, pay some, I don't know, like a little lease break fee and that's it and done. It seems like a lot more involved of a process, but I'm open to different suggestions. and that's where you can help me out if you, of course, know what you're talking about and if you are in Australia. Okay, because overseas, I would love to hear your stories, but they would not be of much help to me. There you go. I hope it helped. Give me a quick like, subscribe for more from my channel, and I'll talk to you next week about something else car ownership related. I think we will go into review of a car, maybe translation of a car to change the pace. Otherwise, it's been too much of lamentations of the experiences lately, which was insightful, interesting, hopefully for you, but a little bit draining emotionally for me. So time to change the pace. Stay tuned to next week, and I'll talk to you then.